La Crosse Local is proud to be a sponsor of the La Crosse Winter Roots Festival, taking place Saturday, February 12th. We invite you to celebrate music, cuisine, artists, makers, brewers, and distillers in the new La Crosse Center Riverside Ballroom. Musical entertainment includes Dan Sobronic, Reed Grimm, Tug, The Remainders, Greg Hall and the Wrecking Ball, and the Trippin' Billies, the nation's most renowned Dave Matthews tribute band. La Crosse Winter Roots Festival is presented by the La Crosse Center, La Crosse Local, and with special thanks to The Remainders.
I'm going home. Hey, I'm going home.
Find out more information and how to get tickets at lacrosselocal.com. In this episode, we sit down with Tommy Prine. We hear about his earliest memories of music, his own music influences, his process with collaboration and songwriting, COVID, creativity, the loss of his father, John, and what's next for this singer-songwriter. You can find more conversations, food reviews, live music, and events on our website, lacrosselocal.com. I'm Amy.
And I'm Brent.
And this is La Crosse Local.
Could have known you're all I need, walking up and down the street. We both know that was then, and this is how you fall in love without a doubt. She was perfect.
So I'm born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, and some of the earliest memories I have of music, I suppose, is like going to shows with my dad, and I'd be like backstage and me and my brother would be dancing. I remember like after like every show, my dad would always ask us like, what was your favorite one tonight? Like he would legitimately want to know. It would always change, but I just remember telling him like fish and whistle. And like he would play it like every single show that he knew that me and Jack were backstage, my brother Jack. Yeah, but that's probably like my earliest memories, other than just like him playing at like, you know, like after dinner and stuff like that. And
So was that ever something you just got tired of though, you know, being little kids?
What?
You know, having to go to the shows all the time, or was it ever
I mean, like definitely there was like, I mean, we didn't go like all the time just because like, you know, like we had to go to like school and all that stuff, and kids going on the road all the time, I'm sure we'd probably just like annoy the hell out of them. But yeah, I mean, there was definitely like, there was like a point in time where me and my brother were like, oh, like, do we have to go? Like, we don't want to, like, it's boring or whatever.
You know, think about those earlier memories and stuff like that. What are some of your influences, you know, something that stuck out in your mind, you know, any particular albums, or is there what kind of set you down your path?
I mean, man, I've listened to so much different music, like my whole life. I like one thing that that has stayed consistent is that I've always like deeply loved music. Like when I first started, like the first album that really, really got me into always listening to music is when I was like probably like 7 or 8, and I bought that Outkast album, Speaker Box Love Below, and like I listened to it in like my CD player, and I was just like, this is like amazing. I can listen to these songs whenever I want. Like this is so cool. And from there, like I was like a kid, I listened to like a bunch of Outkast, and then I started getting into like metal and stuff like that, like Iron Maiden and like Metallica. And then that's like when I really was like, Dad, like I really want a guitar. I want to learn how to do this. And I got a guitar, and I was like trying to like learn all those riffs and stuff like that. And then it turned into like classical rock, and I'd listen to like Led Zeppelin and like stuff like that. And then I started getting into more contemporary stuff and like Red Hot Chili Peppers. The Chili Peppers was definitely like one thing that I feel like really made me want to like get good at the guitar, because John Frusciante is like on my Mount Rushmore. Like he is like one of the best to ever do it as a guitar player. In my mind, I was like, I'm gonna be like a rock star, like I'm gonna be like a guitar god, like I'm gonna be like Kurt Cobain or like whatever, you know what I mean? And then I can't really put my finger on it what it was, but I think, I mean, like I always listen to my dad's music and appreciate it for sure, but I think it was something like I think it might have been like a Justin Townes Earl song, actually. Like I found him on YouTube, And it's funny, it wasn't his dad. Like I like listened to Justin first, and like I just saw him do like a singer-songwriter set like on YouTube, and like I was blown away. And I was like, I gotta like start writing stuff or something like that. And I picked up an acoustic guitar and just never put it back down. So I guess my answer would be that it's like a whole bunch of people that have like given me tiny little influences throughout my whole life. People from the last couple of years, I started getting into like Tyler Childers, Sturgill Simpson,
Yeah.
Jason Isbell, Nathaniel Rateliff, and the Night Sweats, you know, like all them. So I've always listened to like a range of stuff, and I still do. Like, you know, in the mornings when I'm like making coffee, I throw on like Nathaniel Rateliff's new album, and then like in the afternoon I listen to some like Marvin Gaye. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like all over the place, and it's hard for me to like put a actual answer on like what has influenced me, just because I've always just kind of listened to what just like has given me like the best feeling, I guess. So
Sure. You have a debut album that's recorded, correct? Because like just kind of investigate you a little bit.
Yeah,
There's a lot of big fans in La Crosse here where you're going to be playing here in the next couple of weeks. So kind of digging into your YouTube stuff. What is the process? So you have the debut album. I understand it's fully recorded. What's the process for you with like songwriting, recording?
Dude, that's like, it's been a whole new world for me, because like I've just, up until really like last year, it was just like writing for like fun and like playing for my friends and stuff like that whenever we like get together. And like I never really thought like what my process would be. And then now like doing the whole record, like writing it and getting in the studio, it's like I've been learning something new like about the process and myself like every 10 seconds. Basically like how it happened for this record, I don't know if it'll be like this in the future, but I had a bunch of songs, and I had probably like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 of them that I was like, I know these are good. Like this is like what I thought was like my best. Basically, me and my friend Rustin Kelly, like we just hung out for a long time. Then one night we're just playing guitars, and showed him one of my songs, and he liked it, and we did a demo of it. And like a month later, he's just like, dude, let's make a record. If you can write a song like this, like let's see what else you can do, and like let's like put a date on it and like write together. I legitimately, for like the entire year of 2020, I was just writing like crazy. I was doing like co-writes all the time. I'd write with Rustin when he had time, writing by myself like multiple weeks, stuff like that. And I basically just learned that in order to make a record, you need to have something to say, and you have to figure out what it is you want to say and how you want to say it, and how that translates into who you are as a person, and who, you know, you want other people to see you as, I suppose, in a way. It's like a pretty like intense thing, you know, like diving really, really deep into who you are as a person and sharing things with the world. You know, it's not like you're having like an intimate conversation with like a best friend. Like you're talking about these very personal things in a very personal and vulnerable way, and you're sharing it with the world. Yeah, it was honestly a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be, for sure. And I learned a lot about myself through writing for the record. And then recording it, dude, like it was the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. Like not in like some like sad, depressing way, but it was the most like excited I'd ever been to wake up the next day. Like I just wanted to get home after like an 8 or 9 hour day in the studio and like go immediately to bed so I could wake up and do it again. It was the most fun I've ever had in my entire life.
So you kind of hit on that. That was around 2020, right? So that was through like the you know, a lot of COVID stuff going on and along those lines.
Yeah, so like 2020, like especially during lockdown and stuff, that was all just like basically like writing. And then this year is when I recorded
Just
it.
jumped in there.
Yeah, in July.
I mean, during COVID, you know, it sounds like it was kind of like actually in some ways, did it allow you time to work on that stuff? I mean, it sounds like it did. It sounds like it just
Time in the world, man.
Yeah.
That's all I was doing. I was just like, you know, wake up and just like, all right, what are we doing today? Especially for those couple months when like everything seemed to shut down. You know, it's like, what else was there to do? I just like had all these thoughts running around in my head and just like writing and stuff like that. So I don't know, like, I mean, also like obviously since like the whole like pandemic, like it took my dad away. So that, you know, that hit me really, really hard, and it gave me kind of like a new perspective on life. And I mean, I'm sure any songwriter will tell you that like hard times will bring some creativity into the world. You know, it's not always like writing a song about a story or like someone, like it's something that happens to you that affects you deeply and personally. And a way that I dealt with that really was with like writing music. So I think having like all the time in the world to write all the time, and then that happening to me, I mean, it changed me as a person, and it certainly changed me as a songwriter.
I haven't been able to, listen to a lot of your work, but something that was just striking and something that you guys sent over here was, that was then the song that's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that was recorded directly or that was the YouTube video, but I mean, it's a very striking song. Like, how did that come about?
I just recorded it in my fiance's office here at home. I just have like a little like mic like yours. I just kind of use a mic like that and plug it straight into my thing on GarageBand and just recorded it in like one take in there. But like basically me and my was girlfriend, now fiance, we got a rescue dog and her name is Maggie. And I was just feeling like writing a song, and sometimes like I'll try and coax her into like helping me write a song just because she's super creative, but she's like, oh, I can't write. And I like made her basically try and write a song with me, and that's what we came up with.
She ain't broken, can't you see? A little love is all she needs. We can do that. Still having trouble trying to sleep. She gets anxious when we leave. We'll always come back.
I've always had a thought in the back of my head that like after you find that first pet that you really love and it loves you back, and you have like a deep friendship with that animal, and then eventually they have to pass away. And I always thought in the back of my head, like every animal, every dog I'm going to have after you, my first one, her name was Chrissy, and like every dog I have after that dog is like her finding me again, basically, but like in another animal. So like that's kind of like what we were going for essentially, and that's how that song turned out. So
Nice. I'm sure that strikes a chord with a lot of people with pets.
that one's not on the record though. That was just like one that I wrote recently. I don't think there's anything out like on YouTube that's on the record.
When is that coming out? Do you know?
Hopefully the spring of 22. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. I still have to get like a lot of stuff in line just because like, I'm not on like a label or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So kind of like a self-funded sort of ordeal, and hopefully they'll get my foot in the door somewhere.
So locally, and I know there's a big crew of people that are excited for the show that's happening up at Leo and Leona's Tavern near La Crosse here. You were still playing out a little bit right before for COVID, or have you been getting out recently? What's it like been playing live shows?
Well, like, so right before COVID hit, I played my second ever live show of myself. I've only, at this point now, I've played sub 20 shows ever of my own stuff. So like, it's all very like new to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm like learning how to be on the road and like even play like a whole set and everything like that. And yeah, I mean, it's been amazing though, man. Like, I mean, it's been like a little nerve-wracking when it was decision time that I was like, I'm going to go out on the road, just because it's like such like a big feat to take on if it's something you've never done before. But as soon as I hit the stage the first time, I think it was like in Des Moines, Iowa for like an arts festival, I was just like, this feels so good. Like this feels right. Nothing has ever felt this more right in my whole life. So that's probably been like the most interesting part about it, is like finding that solace in like a big life decision.
So getting out of the house, COVID's hopefully abating a little bit, kind of starting this touring thing. What's next for you? Like, what are you excited for, coming up in the next year or two?
Who knows, man? I've learned to set my expectations on the future like to nothing, because you never really know what's going to happen, man.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I've had a bunch of like really awesome stuff happen to me that was unexpected. I've had a bunch of horrible things that have happened to me unexpected. So, man, like I'm very like left foot, right foot these days. I'm just kind of like, next right thing, I'm going to do that and just kind of see what happens. I mean, what I want, I guess, is like a band and like get to go on like a tour with like a band and like show people what these songs really are. My biggest goal up until like today was just to make a record. Like my whole life, I was like, I just want to make an album. And now that I did that, I'm kind of like, oh, like what now? You know what I mean? I'm like trying to find a new goal, and I'm not sure what that is yet. But I'm just kind of keeping my eyes on the prize, I suppose, whatever it may be.
Well, cool. People are excited to see you here in La Crosse, Wisconsin. So I'm sure it'll be a blast. So anyways, if people want to find out more, maybe go to your socials, whatever, when that album's coming out, what's the best venue to send them to?
Instagram is one that I'm like always using. That's probably like the best way on social media. It's just Tommy Prine Music. That's my handle on Instagram. And then I have a website, tommyprine.com, that you can get my merch there. You can see where I'm going to play and read a little bit about me. And then a bunch of stuff will be coming out soon on there about the record. So
La Crosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you'd like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at La Crosse Local. Find out more about us at lacrosselocal.com, and you can subscribe to the La Crosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate it.